a year ago, I brought home this $10,000 life-size Iron Man statue from Queen Studios. And if you recall in this video right here, my wife was not too happy. I wonder what she's gonna think now. Hey, my name is Mr. X. Welcome to the Extreme Channel. We are giving away $1,000 statues to you guys. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to the Extreme Channel. One of the biggest things we talk about here are extreme collectibles. And I have two life-size Marvel Cinematic Universe statues on my left and right. That's right, we have the Mark VII, one of the coolest Iron Man armors that Robert Downey Jr. wore in the first Avengers movie. Then on my right, we have the Iron Spider. Peter Parker, aka Tom Holland, wore this in Avengers Infinity War. So while we're looking at both of these today, you can go back and check that original video on this guy. I did an in-depth review about all the different things with him. But today we're going to focus on the Iron Spider, or Spider-Man, also made by Queen Studios, the same people who made Iron Man. Now when it comes to high-end collectibles, if you're new to the channel, I've owned hundreds and hundreds, probably $1 million worth of really high-end collectibles, but typically they come in smaller scales. Quarter size, 1/3 scale, but not one-to-one life-size stuff, despite the fact I've owned a lot of one-to-one busts, typically the torso and above. But other than Han over here, which I've had for about 20 years, maybe not that long, but I've had him for about 15 years. These two, plus this Lord of the Rings piece right here, Balrog, made by the same company, Queen Studios, are the only life-size pieces I've had in my collection. Also, I don't really get a lot of Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff. When it comes to collectibles, I like comic-based stuff for the most part, with some exceptions. But I think these look absolutely amazing, and so much so that I actually have another one on order. Queen Studios has their Mark 85. So I kind of wanted one of the most iconic suits that Tony Stark wore in the first Avengers movie, and of course, one of the most iconic suits he wore in the last few movies. And that's going to go to my right. Right now, there's a MAME arcade game there, but it's going to be an entire wall of MCU superheroes or suits. That's why I like to buy these. I don't really look at these as actual people, but suits. Someone walks into my home, they think, hey, I have an Iron Man suit, I have a Spider-Man suit. Okay, nobody thinks that, but it's cool for me to think that. So if you've watched other videos on the channel, we do a real regimented format when we try and review a collectible, which, as I said, we're going to review the Spider-Man today. All right, so while I'm not the biggest Spider-Man fan, even though I bought a Spider-Man statue that costs more than a car, I'm a huge Venom fan. I absolutely love Venom. He's probably arguably my second favorite comic character of all time. In fact, I've owned probably 40 different Venom pieces. Would I buy a life-size Venom? Probably, if it was awesome. While I do wish they would have translated Venom into a cool storyline in the MCU, I think they did it with Spider-Man and Tom Holland. I'm an absolute big fan. You know, people often ask me, who is the best Spider-Man? And I always say this, I think that Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man, I think Tobey Maguire is the best Peter Parker, and I think Andrew Garfield is the best actor. I love Tom Holland's portrayal as Peter Parker as well, and I thought this suit was absolutely amazing. Looks incredibly badass, had so many cool features in the films, and here he is standing in front of me. Don't worry, we're going to do some close-up video so I can show you all the details on this guy, because just like the Iron Man, he was not cheap. We'll talk about that in value, but first, let's kick it off with concept. Now what's really cool is all these MCU life-size pieces, they're doing a similar concept so you can display some or all of them together. I absolutely love that. That's why I think these two pair well together. That's why I think the Mark 85 will look awesome right there. Let's take a look. So first, these Avenger-style bases. First of all, they're huge. Now a lot of that is probably for design purposes and weight distribution. I hate the fact they have these nameplates on front. Not only are the nameplates corny looking because they're cheap, but I don't need to know this is from Avengers. If you don't know this is from Avengers, you wouldn't like it. However, they are a cool base. Very futuristic, almost feels like this is where they would store their suits, maybe inside the Avengers headquarters. And they're all standing there in museum poses. So again, a lot of people assume this is the actual character. I kind of picture it in my head, this is the suit waiting to be worn. Now, while Spider-Man might be a little bit different than Iron Man as far as the suit, to me, it's still very similar. It is computerized. There are a lot of different parts. Here you see all the light up features on. We'll talk about that in design. And it's standing there ready, waiting to be worn. Or maybe he's just ready there, showing off. Who knows? He might jump to life any minute and freak me the fuck out. But anyway, super cool piece. I love it. Very stoic. He looks badass. While museum pose is a little boring, you can't really get a huge dynamic pose like that. Yeah, you want me to do it again? Like that? Because it would just take up too much room and be a little weird. But he looks so realistic, I swear, I'm a little scared he's going to jump out and grab me any second. Anyway, so while it's a museum pose, I still give it a 4 out of 5. I think it's well done, Queen Studios. I love what they're doing with the entire line. How the base is semi-matched, but they have a little bit of variation, such as the Spidey symbol compared to the Iron Man symbol, which we'll look at those close when we do the close-up video. Design. So much different than the Iron Man. This was 2 pieces, where the Iron Man was about 12 or so. And the nice thing is, while this was still incredibly heavy, it was a lot lighter than the Iron Man. Here's kind of the unboxing of the piece. So these life-size pieces come in these giant art boxes here that have wheels on the bottom. They have locking mechanisms for the lid, and unfortunately you have to save them. Now mine had this giant gash. I don't even know how they did this. This was on the top. Thankfully nothing was wrong. Here is the box in full. And then once you open it, there is a layer of foam on top, the power cord, and then of course some instructions, which you don't really need. And then a plaque for a certificate of authenticity, which we'll look at. Literally looks like somebody in a coffin. I guess you could use this as a coffin. There he is unwrapped, all one piece, and then the base was in the layer below this right here. Now I didn't videotape the assembly simply for the fact I had no one to videotape it, but it was difficult trying to get that peg in. As you put it in, the peg actually bends a little bit, and a little bit of resin or wood comes off the peg and Spider-Man. Remember that happened with Iron Man as well. It's just so difficult to have such a heavy piece to get it to slide right in there.
That's what she said.
Now the light up feature. Very, very cool, as I said. Here's a picture of him completely lit up, and it's an AC adapter with a button in the back. And then here's a picture with the light up feature turned off. Both very cool, but the light up feature really makes it on this piece, in my opinion. The other thing that it came with is this plaque. So if you recall, I got a plaque with the Iron Man as well, and it was tailored to the buyer. Except if you remember, they sent me one with the wrong name on it, and I never got that fixed. So really quick, here's the Iron Man, a little ghetto type Mr. X stuff I put on there. But it's interesting they didn't stay with the same format for the plaques. Kind of bums me out. I wish they all said that. I don't need to be reminded I'm a VIP member of buying statues, because that's not really a compliment. That's just a reminder you're stupid with your money. But that's it for design. So nothing else to put on him. I like him. It's simple. It's easy. Also a 4 out of 5. I like the fact that they reduced the weight. That was really, really nice. Paint and sculpt. Let's dive in. Now, keep in mind, the bigger you make a piece, the more detailed it should be. And I definitely think that's true here. Check it out. So I turned the lights off for the close-up video. And forgive the cords in the back. I was just so anxious to get this guy going. So just like the Iron Man base, you do have a little bit of a plastic feel. But I actually came to appreciate it over time. You do see it's a little bit shorter. You know, for exact dimensions, you can check out Cosmic Chase Collectibles website. That's where I actually got this. There's a link in the description below. But there's the name tag, as we talked about. It's better than the Iron Man, but still a little bit corny. And again, I don't need to know what movie it's from. I do like the metallic red paint, very Iron Man-like. I wish they made the gray down here more of a steel or silver, so you could almost think of circuitry. And then they have all those dots in the black part of the base. So that's supposed to be space. So the base is a little bit of a miss, but it does grow on you. Now, I do like how they differentiate a little bit of the bases. You know, here you have the Spidey eyes. There you have the arc reactor. So I look forward to see what the Mark 85 will be. Now, we could spend hours looking at every aspect of him. But a few things I want to point out. So first of all, I really like the paint. That has the proper mix of metallic and matte. One concern I do have, and you can probably see it here, is certain areas are shaded more than others. It could be the lighting. It could be how it's supposed to be. Like this pattern right here, this looks intentional. And if it is, fantastic. However, if some of this is unintentional, they just had somebody in the factory doing it, I think that's an incredibly big miss. But with that being said, the paint is incredibly clean. You have no bleed over. You can definitely tell they went through the QC process on this. So I really like what they did with the paint. The eyes do not look corny at all, which a lot of times you see in smaller scale statues with Spider-Man. But really nice job with the paint. Now, the other thing they had to do with this is sculpt it. So you have a few things going on with the sculpt. Number one is you have to really look at the anatomy, everything from his package down there to his musculature. And then also remember that this is a suit that's both cloth and computerized, mechanical at the same time. And I think they pulled that off really well. I like how you can still see his body, but it almost looks like armor at the same time. And that's everything from his boots, which we really haven't looked at too much, all the way up to the Spidey symbol on top here. It almost looks like it's part of him. And then, of course, you have two things going on. You have the indentations, which are kind of like the traditional Spider-Man webbing, to really materialize that, hey, this is Peter Parker, this is Spider-Man. But also on top of that, extreme texture on this. You can see this dot-like pattern is everywhere all over the suit. And I quite like it. It's quite a big contrast right here. So I'm glad I'm putting him in the middle. There's the MAME arcade game that the Mark 85 will go. So I'm a big fan of that. And I assume this is movie accurate because, of course, Disney has to sign off on anything that they're doing regarding Marvel for licensing. But yeah, I mean, it's so funny because part of this, it does look like cloth right there. And I know I'm focusing on his junk. Get over it. My wife was holding him by that when we put him in, which is, made me feel a little awkward. But it looks like armor and fabric at the same time. So I think that's a big attribute to them. And you see how it's kind of that gold shine right there? It almost looks like it's shining. Those are some spotlights I have on it. So you typically don't see that. It's just a reflection of the metallic paint they used. But yeah, I like it a lot, actually. I probably like the paint sculpt more than Iron Man. Not sure which one I like more, though. All right, giving you a different angle here. So let's talk about the paint. Paint looks fantastic. Like I said, some of the shading, if it's intentional, great job. If it's unintentional, really crappy for how great of a statue or how much we paid for it, I guess I should say. So I do give the paint, let's go with the benefit of the doubt, 4 out of 5 on the paint, better than average, very sharp, very clean. Sculpt, also very clean. This looks like it came directly out of the movie. While I haven't studied Tom Holland in person or him wearing the suit in the film, I don't microanalyze the film or anything. It looks just like him. They didn't over-muscularize it. I love the detail in it. Also a 4 out of 5. Now, is this worth it? I don't know. So first of all, most of these life-size statues, they usually make about 100 of them, 99. They made 300 of these. But because of that, they did lower the price point. So typically it's about $10,000, $11,000. This was only $7,500 plus about $1,500 in shipping because it comes from China, and to get it to the States is a huge chore, as you saw with the boxes. Now, I got this from Cosmic Chase Collectibles. So they have all types of different stuff. Queen Studios, Prime One Studios, XM. Definitely check them out. There's a link for them in the description below. It's not an affiliate link. I have no idea if you click on it, but a big thank you to Cosmic Chase Collectibles for getting this in for me. Absolutely amazing. And I also got that piece from them as well. So it's $9,000 all in. There's 300 of them. Do I think I could get my money back? Hell no, not in this economy. When people walk in, they're going to be impressed with this. I didn't buy this to impress anybody. I do that with my sexy good looks and my charm. Believe it or not, a lot of people don't come down here and look at all this crap. This is really for me, and I am really impressed with this. I like this a lot. Yes, $9,000, no collectible is worth that much until you start talking to people that are in different hobbies, whether that's cars or autographs or baseball cards or watches. While I do have watches that cost more than this, I think this is more badass. I like the value on this. I think it's a 3 out of 5, and that means over time, I could probably get my money back, but I don't think I could make a huge profit just because there's such a limited market, which is why they only made 299 of these worldwide. Does it have the X Factor? X Factor is an accumulative score. It's a badassery score. When you walk in, are you drawn to it? Is it amazing? Of course it is. This is awesome. Queen Studios knocked it out of the park. It's just something cool to have, whether they executed well or not. And they did execute well. It's a 5 out of 5 statue, in my opinion, when it's all said and done. So happy with the purchase. Originally, I kind of bought them on impulse, and then I was a little regretful. Zero regrets right now. Now, my wife, on the other hand, this just added item number 721 of regrets on why she married me. So let me hear your comments. I want to hear about this guy, or let me know about your significant other. What is something you've done that made them regret being with you? And again, let's keep it clean, but throw that down in the comments below because we're really close to a big statue giveaway. As we try to grow this channel, we like to reward you guys for watching and subscribing. So because of that, every 5,000 milestone when it comes to subscribers, we give away a couple $1,000s worth of statues. We've actually given away over 20 statues. To win one was easy. First, you gotta be subscribed to the channel. You'll get bell notifications when videos drop. Each video that drops, you wanna make a comment on those videos. We pick a random video, we give away statues based on a comment. You can say whatever you want. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys, and I really appreciate Cosmic Chase Collectibles. Please at least give a like. If you didn't like me, you can't not like this guy. Throw a like down, and if you like stuff like this, make sure to sub to the channel.